What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Patriots Real Time Podcast. I'm your host, Theo Diaz. Today we're doing another solo show. We're going to be talking about the Patriots' 31-13 win over the Tennessee Titans. We're going to be doing a little bit of a check-in podcast as well. 7 games into the season. We are almost halfway through the year. The Patriots, like I said, 5-2 on the year. So, feeling pretty good. The Mike Vrabel era is going well. The Patriots went into where he formerly coached and won. There will be more on that later, which I've tried to do about 100 times now, and I failed every time to get a good take. So hopefully this is the time that I figure out how to say what I want to say. But yeah, so just a check-in podcast, kind of how's the season going, looking at the schedule that they have for the next 10 games. 11 weeks, 10 games left of this Patriots season unless they make the playoffs, which all indications at this point on October 16th are pointing to them making the playoffs. So we'll see. Right now, as it stands, they are the 2nd seed in the AFC, atop of the AFC East. Like I said, once again, with a 5-2 record, beating the Buffalo Bills, the Tennessee Titans today, the Carolina Panthers, the Miami Dolphins, and of course, well, I guess that's it. But no, the New Orleans Saints. They beat the Saints as well. That's a lot of wins. That's more wins that they've had in the last 2 seasons. Last year they went 4-13. In 2023 they also went 4-13. So they've already won more games in 7 games this year than they did in 17 games the last 2 seasons. So very impressive start to the Mike Vrabel era. In 2022 they won 8 games, so just 3 more games to not only tie the doubled version of their last 2 seasons, but also to achieve that 2022 mark. So, and they can do it. We'll get into more of that later. But before we do that, I want to start by talking about Mike Vrabel's journey to get here. So, Mike Vrabel was hired by the Tennessee Titans in 2018 to be their head football coach. He was fired on January 9, 2024. And Mike Vrabel was a really good coach in Tennessee. He took a team that was a team that was not very good. Yes, they had made it to the playoffs the year prior, but he took a team that was not very good to the AFC Championship game in just his 2nd season as the head coach. He took a team in 2021 that had Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yes, it didn't work out. In 2020, he took a team to the AFC divisional round. Mike Vrabel has experience in the postseason. He has experience as a head coach. So, like I said, he got fired on January 9th, 2024. So that was after the 2023 season. And like I also said, in 2021, the Tennessee Titans were first place, not in the AFC South, but in the entire AFC. And yes, they were first-round exits because they did have a bye. And yes, in 2022, they went 7-10. And in 2023, they went 6-11. But why was Mike Vrabel fired? Well, it starts on draft day of 2022 when the Tennessee Titans traded A.J. Brown, all-pro wide receiver, A.J. Brown, to the Philadelphia Eagles for a first-round pick. And that first-round pick, or with that first-round pick, the Titans took another receiver who they hoped to be equivalent to or better than A.J. Brown. Similarly, or trying to replicate what the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills did, or I guess it would be the Minnesota Vikings did, just 2 years prior in the 2020 draft when they traded Stephon Diggs, now current Patriot, to the Buffalo Bills. And they ended up drafting Justin Jefferson, who ended up probably being better than Stephon Diggs. That's what the Titans thought they were doing. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Also, that is not what Mike Vrabel thought they were doing. Mike Vrabel and A.J. Brown still have a good relationship, to my knowledge. And to my knowledge, Vrabel did not want to trade him. But they did anyways. The relationship with the front office got soured, but it really got soured when Mike Vrabel was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame in October ahead of a Week 7 game against the Bills. Vrabel said, "Not all organizations are as special as this one, so cherish it," something along those lines. That's not the direct quote. The relationship between Titans ownership and Mike Vrabel, from that point on, there was no saving it. No matter how good the Titans season went, which it did not go very well, from that point on, he was gone. And he was fired. And he didn't get a head coaching job, which the Patriots and all other teams look really, really dumb right now that they did not give Mike Vrabel their head coach, or did not give him an opportunity to be their head coach after he's fired by the Titans. He went to the Browns for 1 year, where he became a consultant on offense. And then on January 12th, 1 year, or 368 days after he was fired, he was hired by the team he played with for 8 years. And now, 280 days after being hired by the New England Patriots, he walks into his former stadium in Tennessee and beats the Titans. So that's how Mike Vrabel got here to this point. If you were wondering, it's a full circle moment for him. He comes back to Tennessee, the team that he was fired by, a team that just fired his replacement just last week. It would have been an even better story if Brian Callahan was fired this week. But he was not. He was fired last week. So, yeah, anyways, that's kind of where we are. Let's actually talk about this 31-13 game. But, yeah, so let's do that. So the Patriots won again. Fourth game in a row. It's the first time since 1961 that they've won 3 straight road games, I believe. That could be wrong, though. It might be the first time in franchise history. I heard something on the broadcast saying that it's their first 4-game win streak since 2021 when they did that. Also, they actually had a longer win streak in 2021, but if they get 8 in a row, it would be 2019, but I think it was 7 in a row in 2021, so it's going to be 2021 for a while if they continue to win, and that's a big if. Well, not really, because they have the Browns, but hopefully they'll beat the Browns next week. But, yeah, so the Patriots won. It started off not looking great. The defense looked bad, like it always does in the first quarter. I overreact to it. So many people overreact to it. Oh, this defense is awful. This defense stinks. Because they defer the team that they're playing drives right down the field. This time they kicked a field goal, so improving. But and then Drake May usually comes back, drives the Patriots down the field, and then we're back. The Patriots are back. Also, I feel like we shouldn't say that we're back every week, because you can't be back every week. For the last 5 weeks, the Patriots fans have been like, "We are so back." I think that they should have just, I don't know, at least for the Bills game. That's when you say that, and then we can stop. We've been back for a few weeks now, but no. Yeah, so the defense looked spotty as always. They went down 10-3, and then they came back, tied the game 13-10 after a Joey Sly 50-yard field goal. The touchdown was to Austin Hooper, a really nice catch, a really nice throw. And then the Patriots drove right down the field. Drake May threw a 38-yard touchdown to Kayshon Boutte with him making probably the best catch of his NFL career. He caught it over his shoulders with his fingertips. A really, really nice catch from Boutte. The Titans had one of the worst coached, I'd say, like 1-minute drills after that. And then from that point on, you kind of knew the game was over. Patriots go down the field, drive. Drake May gets knocked out of the game, potentially with a concussion, but he comes back after a Josh Dobbs really nice escapability play. Finds Demario Douglas on one of the greatest catches that we have seen this season. One-handed catch. Him going back here, making the catch as he's running across the middle. The one bad throw from Drake May today, who was 21 for 23. That's the highest completion percentage of a Patriots quarterback since, not since anything. It's the highest Patriots completion percentage from a quarterback ever. I believe it was 93%. Let me do the math real quick. Hold on. Calculator. not since the Patriots had the greatest quarterback of all time, and Drake May, outside of, this is the greatest quarterback percentage of all time. It was a 91.3% QBR, or completion percentage, ever. Great. What? 91.3% completion percentage, and that's the greatest ever. Excluding like Julian Edelman's one pass I think it was for like a minimum of like 2 or 3 passes, something like that. Anyways, maybe more. But so Drake May had a really nice day, and then after the Mondre touchdown, which they scored on the play after it wasn't the play after, but they scored on 3rd and goal. In a span of 11 seconds, they scored again. When Cam Ward was being flushed out of the pocket by Caleb on Chason, he ends up dropping the ball. Chason picks it up, runs it back in for a touchdown, and the Patriots didn't score after that. Titans didn't score after that. The game was over. Marcus Jones had a game-sealing interception. Josh Dobbs came into the game, handed the ball off to Terrell Jennings a few times, and then took a knee. And the Patriots improved to 5-2 on the year. Titans dropped to 1-6. All right. Overall thoughts on the game. The offensive line struggled. Jeffrey Simmons was out from pretty much the start of the game with a hamstring injury. Jared Wilson really struggled today. Thought Will Campbell wasn't great at times. When Jeffrey Simmons was in the game, Mike Onwenu, I thought he was fine, but it was like kind of a very small sample size, so you couldn't really tell. I thought just Morgan Moses and Onwenu, after Simmons came out, were, as they usually are, pretty good. Another kind of weird thing to notice that Travion Henderson only had 2 or 3 carries. Ramondre Stevenson had a fine, exceptional game. He almost had 100 yards. He didn't. But Travion Henderson, this is the thing where it's like, a lot of people have been complaining about why Travion Henderson hasn't been playing. And you look at him between the tackles, and you say, okay, let's see him on screen passes. That's what he's made for. He really hasn't produced on screen passes either. So he can't do much, and when you can't run between the tackles and you're not producing enough on screen passes and gadget plays, you're not going to get on the field. It's kind of amazing to me that he is playing 40% of the snaps because he's just produced absolutely nothing this year. I'm not saying he can't be a good player, but as of this moment, he shouldn't be on the field because Ramondre Stevenson, when he holds onto the football, is 5 times a better player than Travion Henderson is, because you look at Ramondre today, he can break tackles, he's explosive, and Henderson is also explosive. He can't break tackles, he can't run through the tackles, 2 tackle words, but he can't run between the tackles, he can't break tackles. At least he does hold on to the ball. He hasn't looked explosive. He doesn't look like he knows where to go. He looks lost. And he didn't look lost in the preseason, but now he's off kickoff, so he's virtually providing you with nothing. Terrell Jennings today was probably a more valuable player to you. Not even probably, was a more valuable player to you on kickoffs. Efton Chisholm on kickoffs. There were probably, how many guys stood up? 46? There were probably 44 guys, maybe 45 guys more valuable than Travion Henderson to you today. So if you're ever wondering why is Travion Henderson not playing, that is why. Not to kind of shit on the guy, but when you don't produce, it's like, you produced some cool plays in the preseason. You had a touchdown. You had a really nice kickoff return. So did Antonio Gibson. So does Marcus Jones on punt returns every week. Am I calling Marcus Jones to get on the field more on offense, which he very well could be on the field during offensive snaps? I know he's a defensive player. No, I'm not calling for Marcus Jones to be on offense. And no, when Antonio Gibson was playing, I did not call for more of Antonio Gibson, even though I probably should have, because he was their best running back. Outside of, I guess, all-encompassing, he was their best running back. But if you exclude Ramondre, then he's been their best running back. Or if you exclude Ramondre's fumbles. Sorry. Let's see what else. Efton Chisholm got on some offensive plays. Elijah Ponder had a penalty, but really relatively clean game from the Patriots. Chason had a nice game. Milton Williams is a beast. Christian Barmore is even more of a beast. Thought he was hurt, but he was okay. Carlton Davis didn't suffer an injury this week. That's good, we think. But I think he's been an overpay. Just looking at it, they didn't even have to cover anyone good. It was, I don't even know his first name, but the last name is DK. Getting torn up. Charles Davis said to the play-by-play guy today, who I forget the name of, but he was like, "Have you even called out Christian Gonzalez's name?" And he was like, "No, I don't think so." And he was like, "Oh, I mean that by a good thing." Christian Gonzalez got beat over in the middle for like a 20-yard gain by DK earlier, before he said that. So I don't know. I think Gonzalez has been a bit disappointing. I think he's starting to catch stride though. But against, like, I'm just gonna say it, simply not a good receiving core like the Titans have, especially without Calvin Ridley and without Van Jefferson, who went down during the game. Davis didn't look great. Gonzo looks pretty good, I would say. Marcus Jones didn't look great. He let up a touchdown. So, like, I don't know. That's kind of would be on, like, my bad list, especially Carlton Davis, who on the first, I think it was one of the first plays of the game, he gets beat, tripping over the guy's shoes. Like, what are we doing? He just hasn't been good all season. He's been constantly hurt. He's not great. He's missing plays. This week, thank God he didn't miss a play, because you couldn't afford him to miss a play because Charles Woods was injured. Charles Woods has been a really good addition. I would honestly, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Charles Woods is better than Carlton Davis, because that is a crazy thing to say. But Charles Woods in his rotation has been better than Alex Austin. So I don't know. I think that we could see Alex Austin maybe getting cut if they bring in a Stephon Gilmore, which rumors were swirling that they were looking for a guy that they could bring in at cornerback, because they also agree with me their cornerbacking or their secondary play has been really awful this year. Apart to having a rookie back there and a non-typical starter in Jalen Hawkins, who's been out the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, we're 17 minutes in, and we're going to do the check-in on the season. How are we feeling so far? My voice keeps cutting out, but I'd say overall feeling great. This team is not going to win a Super Bowl, but the fact that they've been able to go 5-2, and yeah, they haven't played the best teams of all time, and maybe they should be 6-1 or 7-0. But the fact that this team, after winning 4 games the last 2 seasons, has been able to go 5-2 through their first 7 when playing the Bills is like amazing. It's really amazing to me. They faced some adversity to start the year. They started 1-2. And they ripped off 4 straight games. They've won on the road 4 times this year. They're 4-0 on the road. The one thing that sucks is their home record is 1-3. But just overall feeling great. I don't expect this team, like I said, to win a Super Bowl, even win a playoff game. I don't expect them to do that. But just seeing them hopefully getting back into the playoffs is a huge step forward. And yeah, it's obviously not where you want to be long term in the grand scheme of things. You want to be competing, you want to be favorites to win a Super Bowl. Ideally, you want to win a Super Bowl, but right now, where this team was at the last 2 years, going back-to-back 4-13 seasons, and then now you already know you're not going to go 4-13. The worst that you can go is 5-12. And even if they do go 5-12, which I don't think they will, unless Drake May gets hurt, it's an improvement. It's an improvement over last year. That's what we can say. So overall, I'm feeling really, really good right now. Regardless of how the defense is playing, it's not good. Regardless of how the running game has been outside of this game, I'm feeling great. Regardless of how the offensive line has been, especially in this game, I thought that they've been pretty good throughout the season, but this game, awful. You have to feel good about the Patriots right now. Looking ahead, they have the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets. I don't know who they have after that. Let me just check. Patriots schedule. So they have the Browns next week. Oh, I lied. They do not have the Jets. Whoa, I was really off on that. They have the Browns next week. They got the Falcons after that. That could be a tough game. They're going to have to play well. And then they got the Bucks, which they could potentially lose to. But we'll see. We'll see. 2 games at home, and then they go ahead and play the Jets on Thursday Night Football, and the Bengals, the Giants, and they have a bye. So you could probably be looking at a 10-2 football team at the bye. Coming out of the bye, they got the Bills, the Ravens, the Jets, and the Dolphins, and I would say they split. Don't think that they beat the Bills. We'll see how the Ravens are. Maybe Lamar Jackson. Well, we know Lamar Jackson will be back unless he gets hurt again. So I honestly don't. You can't pencil in a win against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. So let's say they go 2-2 in those games. They finish off, they beat the Jets and the Dolphins. And you're going to tell me that you wouldn't be happy with a 13-4 season. I mean, no, 13-5 season, 12-5 season. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be amazing. So take care of business. You should go 12-5 on the year. I don't know. I think I'm feeling really good right now. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have. It feels good to be a Patriots fan again. And the Patriots are back every week. They're back because they play every week on Sunday. So, yeah. All right. That will do it. Follow me, Patriots 3. Follow the podcast, PRT. And, yeah.